Welcome. Today we take a dive into the Harmony Montgomery case. Her father has been accused of her murder and stands trial in February 2024. Harmony Montgomery was born in June 2014, while her father was incarcerated as he was awaiting trial for allegedly shooting a man in the head during a drug deal. DCYF received 3 reports of neglect the month Harmony was born while Crystal Sorey, her mother, struggled with overcoming her drug addiction. From 2014 to 2018, Harmony was placed in foster care several times as her mother continued to battle her addiction, and finally she relapsed for the final time before the disappearance. Adam Montgomery met his daughter for the first time in January 2015 when she was 6 months old. He would rarely see her afterwards. In February 2019, Adam and his then-wife were granted guardianship of his daughter, where she was last seen. Harmony used to take care of her little brother Jameson, now 5, in the foster care system, but they were separated when she was reunited with her biological father in February 2019. Jonathan Bobbitt Miller and Blair Miller adopted Harmony's brother Jameson in November 2019. They claim that Jameson asks about Harmony often. Jameson's new loving family tried everything they could to reunite their new son with his biological sister but failed to gain contact with Adam and Harmony. The couple felt it was important for all their boys to have contact with their biological families. They formed a healthy relationship with Jameson and Harmony's mother. Crystal has been well supported by the Millers, who have and continue to raise awareness for better child protections. The last time Harmony's biological mother Crystal Sorey spoke to Harmony over FaceTime was Easter of 2019. October 2019 was the last known sighting by an official called out to the home. Harmony was seen during a Manchester police call for service at a residence in the city. During the months of November to December 2019, the Montgomerys had been evicted and were living in their car. January 2020, a caseworker with DCYF contacts Adam Montgomery to check on the child. He tells them that she was living with her mother, but this was not confirmed. 2 long years pass and still no official report is made for a missing person by family or child services. Harmony has not been seen during this time. Crystal said Adam had never enrolled their daughter in school and that she had missed important doctor's appointments. She's had the appointments since being a baby due to a disability in her eye. In 2021, case workers twice visit the Montgomery home. They are unable to have any contact with Harmony. Still nothing is done. Later that same year, a close contact of Harmony's mother finally contacts authorities over concerns that Sorey hadn't seen her daughter since 2019. During these visits, case workers would have seen that the house was running from a generator, having not paid the bills. But again nothing was reported. Several family members and friends, including the Millers, pleaded with DCYF over the concerns they shared. None had seen or heard from Harmony over this large time period and was feeling ignored.
Just discussed you that a judge could make that choice to send the baby to, the father who has just has a record, and not just a violent record. This wasn't that, he just picked up a shoplifting, he shot a guy in the face.
November 2021. Harmony is officially reported missing. They contact DCYF, who confirm they cannot locate the missing girl. October 2021, it is widely reported that Kayla has left Adam and they are no longer a couple. In December that same year, detectives publicly announced the disappearance, asking for public support. The circumstances surrounding this prolonged absence are very concerning and are being thoroughly investigated, they say.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Chief Alan Aldenbury, Chief of Police for the Manchester, New Hampshire Police Department, and I thank all of you for being here today. I also have my Assistant Chief, Steve Mangone, alongside as well. Manchester Police received a report this week that Harmony Montgomery has not been seen since late 2019, when she was last seen in a residence in Manchester at that time. The circumstances surrounding this prolonged absence are very concerning and are thoroughly being investigated as we speak. The Manchester Police Department is actively working to locate Harmony. As was released earlier today, Harmony is 7 years old. She's pictured on the front of the podium, weighs approximately 50 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. The Manchester Police Department became aware of this situation this week, and since then we have been working diligently to locate Harmony, and been doing so in conjunction with the New Hampshire Division for Children, Youth, and Families, as well as with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. At this time, I'm not going to discuss or comment specifically on the investigation, other than say that we have spoken with family members of Harmony, and despite doing so, our concerns for the whereabouts of her remain the same, which is why I felt it was imperative to speak publicly about Harmony, with the hopes that by doing so it will bring greater attention to this investigation. I ask anyone who has any information at all, no matter how big or small they may think it may be, on the whereabouts of Harmony, to contact the Manchester Police Department immediately. And I want to emphasize that at this point in the investigation, any and all information that the public may have is important, and I encourage you to contact us immediately. I want to reiterate that the detectives assigned to this investigation have been working nonstop around the clock to locate Harmony, and will continue to do so. I have dedicated all available resources to this investigation, and the men and women of this agency remain committed to locating Harmony. At this point, we have not met the, I'm sure I'll get asked the question, but at this point we have not met the threshold to issue an Amber Alert, as we do not have specific information as to who Harmony may be with or a vehicle that she may be in. Again, anyone who has information about Harmony's whereabouts is asked to call the Manchester Police Department at 603-668-711 and ask for the Detective Division, or specifically they can contact the lead investigator on this, Detective Jack Dunleavy, that's D-U-N-L-E-A-V-Y, directly at 792-5561, that's area code 603. You can also remain anonymous and call anything into the Manchester Crime Line at 603-624-4040.
A widespread search is now underway with no stone being left unturned. A search that started too late, but it would quickly become of great public interest.
You don't have any warrants, right? All right, I got nothing to say. Adam, right? Montgomery? Yeah. Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man? Yeah, I got nothing to say. Right. So, hey, man, the only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is, okay? Okay. So, the concern is that you guys are the same, right? Okay. You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter, okay? So I want to make that clear. Okay. Just want to let you know that my body can monitor, just like everybody else is being on video. So you just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay? Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys. But that's not what I'm just asking where she is. I have nothing to say. So you don't care if your daughter's okay or not? I do. Listen, I have nothing to say. Is your daughter... If I'm under arrest, you guys can arrest me? I'm not saying you're not. Okay, I have nothing to say then. You just don't care how your daughter. I do. Obviously, I do. My kids. Yeah. About all my kids. Yeah, but other than that, I have nothing. I remember you talking to me about it at the Elliott, because when you were up there, you don't remember me, John. Yeah, I do remember. You do? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was there to help you out then. I know. I want to make sure you're doing okay. I know you do. I know you will. And I have a job to do. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. I'm telling you dead ass right now, you're not in any trouble. Okay. I care about how your kids are doing, okay? My job is to check on kids, right? John, I appreciate that. I told you. I remember you from up there. I don't have nothing else to say. So why are you so hesitant to tell me where she is? Are you worried about her mom and like what she's trying to do? And I'm just not going to say anything else. Last time I said anything to the police, she came back, tried to challenge me. I'm not saying nothing else. But here's the thing. You have custody of her, right? Right. So what would you be doing wrong if you have custody of her and she's in a safe place? You know what I mean? So you didn't do anything wrong. If you're telling me that she's in your custody, there's paperwork that says she's supposed to be in your custody, right? She's not supposed to be in mom's custody, right? In mom's custody. She's not in mom's custody. Because I talked to her. And she's not accusing you of doing anything wrong, but she's worried about her daughter. So how you guys work that out in court is up to you guys. But like I said, you have custody of her. You didn't do anything wrong because you have custody of her. So I just need to know that she's okay. If she's okay, I can say, hey, DCYF, she's fine. Like, we know where she is. We check on her. Cool. Like, that's the end of it. And I don't have to bother you anymore. You and your girl can go on your way as long as I know where she is and she's safe. That's all I really care about. I have nothing else to say, John. Like, that's it. I have nothing else to say. But Adam, why are you so concerned that I want to check on your daughter? I have nothing else to say, Bob.
I can't even be a man to answer me that?
I can't. You guys want to arrest me?
I'm not trying to arrest you, man. I'm just trying to make sure your kid's okay.
Okay, I have nothing else to say.
Can you assure me that your daughter's okay?
Yeah.
Do you know where she is?
Yeah.
Okay. Is she with family? Can you just answer me?
I'm
if she's
done
with
answering
family,
questions. If you want to arrest me, arrest me.
Adam.
John, come on. Adam, I got nothing else to say.
I'm not trying to arrest you, though. Did I tell you I was trying to arrest you?
No, you didn't. But if you're trying to, all right. But I have nothing else to say. So if you're gonna arrest me after that, then arrest me.
I'm not, man. I'm just trying to check on your kid. That's all I'm trying to do.
All right.
If you tell me she's with family or she's with like my mom, my dad, she's down in Florida, like all I need to know is that, and you're on your way, man. I just need to know she's okay. I'm not saying I'm gonna take her and bring her to your ex. I'm not saying that. I just want to make sure she's okay. I promise you that.
I know. All right. Well,
like I will shake your hand and tell you that, man to man, that is what I'm trying to do is make sure your daughter's okay. I know your other kids are okay because I was over talking to Kayla.
yeah, I know.
And your kids are okay, man.
I know they are.
They're running around like wild animals, but they're okay. But like Harmony, I don't know where she is. Mom's concerned. DCYF is concerned. If you can get DCYF your back, wouldn't you want to do that? Like, do you want DCYF trying to track you down?
I mean, I'll deal with DCYF, man. Like, I don't.
But they're gonna ask you the same thing. Do you want to keep dealing with them?
Whatever.
All they want to know is where she is and if she's safe. I'm just gonna. You've been around the block. You're not in.
All right, I get that, but I have nothing else to say, John.
Weeks later, in January 2022, Adam Montgomery is arrested on charges including failing to have Harmony in his custody. He continues to offer no information on the whereabouts.
Okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Okay. What's not okay?
Nothing, what's up?
Alright. So I'm just going to ask you some basic questions. You said you can read and write English, correct?
Sure.
Alright. Can you just state your full name for me?
Adam Montgomery.
And Adam, what's your birthday?
12290.
And what address are you using to
I'm
call?
not using any.
Okay. What phone number are you using?
I don't have one.
Okay. What was the highest level of education?
GED.
Okay. Where'd you graduate high school from?
I did. I got a GED.
No, but I know, but like, where'd you get
While I
that?
was incarcerated.
Okay. Right now, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Okay. Do you have any traumatic brain injuries or anything like that? Anything that prohibits you from recalling any memories or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
Alright. So we've met before, right? We met the other day. I know you've had a long time down here. You've kind of been a roller coaster. I'm going to apologize for what happened out there. That's not how I do business, okay? That had nothing to do with me. Those are guys that like to play G.I. Joe, alright? If it had been up to me and I could have gotten a hold of you some way, I would have reached out to you. But you don't have a phone, right?
You guys could have just told my wife you wanted me to come in.
But aren't you not supposed to be talking to your wife?
No, that's bullshit.
It's not. You're not supposed to?
No, I can't be.
Thank you. Look at that.
I can't be.
I guess they're going to let you smoke a cigarette here. They must have talked to somebody.
So I don't know who's saying I can't talk to my wife because that's bullshit.
Maybe it's some old paperwork that somebody saw.
Yeah, from last year, but it was over and done with after I got out of jail.
So that's all clear.
DCYF said it was cleared up. The police said it was cleared up. Everybody said it was cleared. They said that there was no contact order between me and her.
Okay, and that's Kayla we're talking about. Okay. Well, you know, if that's the case, then that's my fault for maybe not checking a little bit further into it. So I apologize for that. Again, I apologize for the way things went down out there. Like I said, I'm not part of the SWAT team. I don't do that stuff. If I had had a good number for you, I would have just called you in. But I don't have you don't have a phone, you said, right? Okay. So I apologize for that. I do appreciate you being cooperative with me. You've never given me a hard time. I know we've only met a few times, so thank you for that. Let's talk about why we're here to talk.
Tell me what you want to say.
Tell me what you know.
I don't know nothing.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day?
You You said you had a couple questions you wanted to ask me. You asked me the questions.
Well, what was our conversation about the other day? Remember we met, I mean, you remember that was only, what, a few days ago, right? We had a lot of worried people and scared people right now in the community. I know you're worried about the well-being of your daughter, and I kind of want to get ahead of this because I don't want you to be painted as a monster.
Well, that's what you guys are already doing.
I am?
We're not doing that. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
That's what you guys are already trying to do, man.
Explain to me how I'm trying to make you, or whoever is trying to make you out to be a monster. Who's telling you that stuff? Is there somebody that I work with that told you that? Somebody you're close with, that they told you that?
No.
All right. Well, you understand this whole thing is getting a little out of hand. Would you agree?
Of course. But
so that's why.
Look, it's just the way you guys are going about it.
And again,
yeah,
I don't
not you specifically, but
right.
Yeah, nobody comes out there like that for a second-degree assault charge. Nobody. Been arrested for worse charges. They don't come out and throw fucking flashbangs at my girlfriend's car and ram us into the fucking guardrail. They don't do that for a second-degree assault charge.
Again, you understand what the charges are, right?
Second-degree assault, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's also an endangering the welfare charge.
Okay.
And interference with custody. Okay, so
how did I interfere with custody?
So that paperwork that we served you the other day, you remember that?
Okay.
When they were in the alleyway, you remember outside of on Lake Ave?
Yeah.
There's paperwork that you have to comply with. You understand that, right? We had that conversation, did we not? Right? So that's what that's all about.
So secondary assault charge, what is this referring to?
Well, that's what we want to talk to you about.
Well, explain to me if I'm being charged with it. What the hell am I being charged with it for?
Well, your daughter had some injuries
What?
that you know about when you lived on Guilford Street.
No, I do not. What are you referring to?
Well, you were there, I wasn't, right?
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to her having some good marks.
What are you referring to?
Marks that were left on her by you.
Absolutely not. I have nothing else to say.
We talked about how we were worried about your daughter the other day, right?
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation?
I remember that conversation, but right off the rip, with the way you're approaching the conversation, you guys are completely out of line. So.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I? In the time that you've known me,
what you just said to me, you guys are completely out of line.
Okay, but so explain to me, how are we out of line?
I have nothing to explain.
Okay, but wouldn't you rather explain it so we can make sense of it than just have other people's side of the story? Like, you want to defend yourself and like this picture people are painting of you, now's your chance, man. Defend
Whose side of the story? Who's telling you these things?
People that were close to you.
Obviously not.
Well, maybe at the time, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that reward on the news, right?
No, I did not.
Do you know that the reward is about $40,000 to find where your daughter is right now?
Okay.
When you start throwing money around like that, people come out of the woodwork that you would never expect to do.
Okay.
So, like I said, when I talked to you a few days ago.
Can I have another cigarette?
Sure. I kind of told you this thing was going to get a lot bigger.
That's not right.
And we wanted to get ahead of it.
But you're sitting there telling me that right off the rip that there was something wrong with my daughter because of me. No, that's bullshit.
Okay. So if your daughter had marks on her at some point when you lived over there, how would you explain those?
How would she have gotten those marks?
Well, I would love to know when the marks were there because DCYF came to my house multiple times.
Okay. And we know that they came there.
Right. And closed the case.
Do we know that DCYF is the flagship agency in the country?
No, but if there was significant marks like you're referring to, I believe they would have flagged something at that point, and they would have said something. They wouldn't have came there and seen that the kids were well taken care of. All the kids loved being at the house with me.
So let me tell you about what second degree assault is. Because there's a lot that encompasses that charge. Basically, if there's a mark on a kid that's under a certain age, it constitutes second degree assault. Although it is a felony, which sounds extremely intimidating, it doesn't mean that somebody got their head bashed in or they got cut up or whatever. So although it sounds pretty intimidating, the charge, I understand that. What we're talking about doesn't mean that it's the craziest crime that's ever been committed. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
So somebody could have a bruise or a really bad welt on them, and that would constitute second degree assault for a kid under a specific age. So that's why that charge is there. So nobody is saying that you took like a baseball bat or like stabbed your kid. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. That is not what anybody's saying about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're concerned with when I say second degree assault, but it sounds a lot worse than I think you're thinking it is. Are we kind of on the same page?
Yeah, but for you to sit there and say that it was inflicted because of me.
We're just going on what we hear. You're not telling us how it happened, so we're going with what we have.
But I don't even know what you're referring to. What are you referring to?
Your daughter had a mark on her face that people, multiple people, have told us was inflicted by you.
Multiple people that weren't even living with us at the time.
Well, there was enough people that had spoken about it.
Yeah.
People share knowledge of what they know.
So somebody, you telling him, and then he tells you, and then he tells you, so something that just gets passed down the line.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like a game of telephone here. I'm saying that people say a story and then the details kind of fill themselves in, like corroborate. Do you know what the word corroborate means?
Of course I do.
Okay. You're a smart guy. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but when people kind of fill in the blanks, that's what I mean by like we're corroborating that story. But this is your time to tell me, kind of explain that. You know, if you're saying this was a mistake or this was an accident.
I don't even know what you're referring to. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't even know what you're referring to.
I'm saying she had a mark on her face. I mean,
I don't even know what you're referring to.
You don't recall your daughter ever having a mark on her face?
The reason DCYF came out to visit you guys, you don't recall that? Why did DCYF come out and start visiting you guys? What was the allegation?
If I remember correctly, it was because of, I believe at the time, I could be wrong, I believe it had something to do with my uncle saying I was using drugs, and I wasn't.
Now, who's your uncle, so we are clear?
Kevin.
Okay. And Kevin's last name?
Montgomery.
Now, he lived there with you?
He lived there with me right around the time when I was first going back to get custody from my daughter.
Okay.
And then he left in April, May, March, something around that time.
And just so I have it right, because I don't want to guess or get confused, what house are we talking about?
Guilford Street.
All right, and what was the number there again?
I'm not 100%.
Okay. Do you remember what color the house was at least?
Beige, maybe.
Okay. And whose house was that originally?
My grandmother's.
All right. And grandma is who?
Kevin's mother.
Kevin's mother.
My dad's mother.
Okay. So was it the Montgomery group living over on Guilford Street?
Yeah, and they all moved out. My grandmother moved out in like January with my little brother, and they all moved down to Florida, and then Kevin went a couple months later.
And so grandma, uncle Kevin, you said little brother, and who's he?
My father's son, Michael.
So Michael, that's what I meant. Like, what's his first name?
Yeah, and his girlfriend.
And his girlfriend. And is he still with that same girl now?
I have no idea.
Oh, so you don't talk to Michael anymore?
No.
Okay. What was that girl's name at the time? Because maybe she can help us to say that, like, this is...
Kayla, I believe.
So Michael's girlfriend's name was Kayla at the time? And you dated a Kayla at the time?
Yeah.
So it kind of got confusing in the house if somebody's yelling for Kayla.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was Kayla? Kayla you were with at the time was...
My wife.
Okay, Montgomery. And then Kayla he was with is...
I have no
idea who she was. Okay, so there was Grandma and Kevin, they moved out in when?
Grandma moved out in like...
I'm just trying to think of people we can talk to.
I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm
trying to figure it out to go back. Like I think we moved over. Thank you. I think we moved over there. I think we moved over there in like, I don't know, October, September, somewhere around then.
And what year is that?
2018.
Okay.
And at the time, I was going for custody for my daughter for at least a year already at that point. And Crystal was showing no interest of going to get our daughter back. So finally, in like, I don't know, December, January, February, something along them lines, courts called me and told me I could come pick her up and bring her home. Brought her home. And then, I don't know, it was, I think the month before, my grandmother left with my brother and his girlfriend, and then the month after, I want to say, Kevin left.
So then who was left living at the house?
Me, Kayla, and the kids.
In that time period, I don't know which kids were born yet and who was...
It was Declan and Seamus.
Okay,
and then Harmony moved in with us.
Okay. So what time did DCYF get involved with you guys? Like, were they over there often, or was it just like a certain period of time? Or
they were there every single day. The police showed up every single day, saying because that's what it was. That's what it was due. That's what it was due to. So Kevin moved out because between me and my wife and Kevin, we were supposed to like pay the bills, keep the heat on, the gas on, whatever. Well, Kevin was supposed to pay the electric bill. He didn't pay the electric bill. Me and my wife, I picked my wife from work, showed up at home. They were shutting the electricity off. So me and Kevin got into an argument about not paying the bill.
Yeah.
And he took his shit and moved out. And then so the next day, or 2 days later, something like that, I don't know, DCYF showed up and the police showed up because they said that we were unfit to have the children at the house because there was no electricity in the house.
Okay.
But we had a generator running, we had the fridge hooked up to it, there was food in the fridge, everything was fine. The police showed up, seen that the kids was fine, there was nothing wrong with them. The DCYF showed up and they left.
And was that like summer, fall? Like when was that?
I want to say maybe spring, going into summer maybe.
Oh, okay. So like, you guys hadn't been there for too long then.
6 months or so.
Okay. And how did it end up that you guys got kicked out of there?
All right, so it was my grandmother's house.
Right.
They didn't pay the mortgage or whatever. They moved to Florida, so the mortgage payments weren't being paid. And I don't know, right around Thanksgiving sometimes, the sheriffs came and threw us out. And then me, Harmony, and Declan, and Seamus, and Kayla left.
And where the heck did you guys go from there?
We were in our car.
Oh, so you lived in your car at that time?
For a couple of days.
Did you have like a van or something like that back then at least? What were you driving back then?
Chrysler of some kind, I forget.
Oh, so it was just like a sedan?
Sedan, yeah.
Okay, so you're living in the car, so you, Kayla, and the 3 kids were living in the car for a few days, and then how'd you get up out of that situation? Like, who took you in, or where'd you guys end up?
We ended up going to her mom's house, Kayla's mom's house.
Okay, and what's her name?
Chris.
Chris, how's she? Well, I mean, she must be okay if she's willing to take you guys in.
Yeah. All right. They're like, all right. You know what, man? Like, I don't even want to talk anymore. Like, this is just beating around the bush, man. It just seems a little too silly to me.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who can substantiate your claims that there's like you're not this like monster of a person that either DCYF made you out to be, or your family who you didn't get along with, or whoever. So that's why I'm trying to like let you kind of speak your piece about all that shit. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. I just got nothing else to say, man. And like, no, yeah, and like, I just don't want to sit there and like, can I smoke another butt?
Sure. I'll be honest, I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm a little lightheaded myself.
All right, well, I just know I smoke butts for a minute.
That's all good.
But yeah, no, but to sit there, man, and sit there and tell me you yourself too, like, this is why I feel like it's just all bullshit. This is just a game. I know it is. I'm not stupid. You fucking.
We're just trying to give you the opportunity to explain yourself.
You're sitting here telling me not to make me out to look like some monster.
Well,
but you told my girlfriend the other day that she should get the fuck away from me. That you don't even know who I am and what my past is like and all types of crazy shit. Like, but sit there and look me in my face.
Adam, I think you're talking about Kelsey.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Kelsey might be exaggerating a little bit.
Right.
I don't know her to exaggerate like that.
It wasn't us talking to Kelsey either.
Oh,
there was other people talking to her, just so you know.
She told me, she gave me your card and said this was the guy that said it.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you that I didn't say that. But if you want to believe it, that's fine.
I mean, she never had no reason to lie to me. So I don't know what she would lie about at that point.
She also told me she had no idea that you had a daughter, so I guess we could say the same thing about you telling her that.
Right, well.
Right?
She knew I had a daughter. I mean, I have one with Kayla, so she knew I had a daughter.
She didn't know about Harmony.
She knew I had other kids.
She told me she had no idea that you ever like lived with her and that you like barely knew her. I don't know if she was lying to me because or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know her. I know you better than her, so that's what I'm saying. So Christina takes you guys in, and she's doing all right, and then would you guys move over to Union Street after that? Is that when you guys get that spot?
Nope, we go to the shelter.
And that's the one on...
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Who's we? Who went to the shelter? They allowed you to go as a family to the shelter?
See, I thought they didn't let guys there for some reason.
They always let guys there. They didn't let me in there this time for no reason. Their reason was bullshit, because I would have been there with Kayla again.
So, back then, they let you in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all of you guys? Like, it was the 5 of you? They let you guys stay there?
No. All right, see, yeah, you guys are just...
I'm trying to understand. I don't know your timeline of life, man. You're there. I'm not. That's why I'm trying to ask you these questions to clarify them.
I already told you the other day what transpired. So we didn't even go to her mother's house.
Okay. Who didn't go to her mother's
Harmony
house?
was all...
Okay, so Harmony didn't go to Chris's house. So explain to me how she didn't end up going to Chris's house.
I've already explained this to you.
Okay.
Well, there's some discrepancies between what you're telling us and what other people are telling us. You're saying you brought her down to Mass, that somebody said she came up from Mass.
I never once said I brought her down to Mass.
What did you say? She came up here to get her?
I never once said. I was audio and video recorded the other day. I never once said I went down to Mass.
So you're saying that she came up from Mass?
I'm not saying anything else.
Why is it that you refuse to talk about her every time we bring her up?
Because You guys are just sitting here beating a bush. It's over and over. You guys asked me what happened the other day. I told you what happened.
You wouldn't tell us the other day.
You guys talked to me the other day. I explained to him what happened the other day, and now it was just a charade. Yep. No, don't worry about it. You're not under arrest, and I'll come up with some fucking bullshit.
We didn't arrest you.
No, the other day, no. But then you had a fucking SWAT team roll up on me, and the fucking D-Techs follow me around for the last 3 days.
Yeah, people are coming out of the woodwork. That's what we're trying to tell you. Like, we don't want you to be painted as a monster. We want you to maybe explain yourself a little bit and give us some side of your story. We have nothing. We have just what we're hearing from people. $40,000 to drag a lot of people out, whether you believe you're your friends or not.
No, I bet
it's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, I know it is. Absolutely it is.
That's what we're trying to get. Now's your time. Like, you keep locking up on us. You don't want to tell us anything about her.
No, I got nothing else to say.
Also in January 2022, Adam Montgomery's wife, Kayla Montgomery, Harmony's stepmother, is arrested and accused of welfare fraud for allegedly collecting food stamps for the girl even though she was no longer living with the couple. Days after these arrests, investigators searched the home and garden in New Hampshire where Harmony lived with her father before her disappearance.
If I can't speak for her, who else is going to, you know? Look, it happened for 2 years because I wasn't her voice, or I couldn't be, or nobody could hear me.
Where did you think Harmony was for the last 2 years?
I thought she was with her dad, and he was just being a jerk, really. That's what I hoped was happening, you know, but in my heart I knew something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Like, he was going to extremes to block me and make sure that I couldn't contact her or anything, or even to the point, like, once his family started calling DCYF and he knew, he then cut them off, and then I couldn't even get information from them, you know, because at least I could get information about what was going on through them. Couldn't even get anything from them. He literally cut anybody that questioned him about how he treated Harmony or what he was doing. He cut them off.
When was the last time you actually saw Harmony?
In a FaceTime video, like 2-3 days before Easter. I showed her basket. I said, I'm coming in a couple days. Mommy got you a basket, you know? I held onto that basket for a year and some change, hoping, you know, that I'd have a chance to give it to her.
And what did she seem like when you saw her on FaceTime?
Terrified. I would say, hey, you know, what's going on? What'd you eat for lunch? What'd you do today? You know, are you going to school yet? Like, you know, how are your brothers and sisters? You got any friends? You know, little questions like that. I'm her mom. Like, I want to know these things. I want to know she's happy. And every time I asked these things, he would pause it and he'd tell, whatever he'd say to her, I can't hear him, he'd mute it. And he'd be like, don't tell her, don't, and she'd be like, you know, and I'm watching her, so he'd unmute it, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you muting it every time I ask her a question? Why aren't you letting her talk to me? Why are you answering for her? Like, you're acting weird, Adam. I'm like, what's going on? Like, we're co-parenting. Like, you're letting me have visits. Like, what's going on? He's like, I have sole custody, sole decision making. You don't get to ask me shit. And he hangs up and blocks me. And that was the last thing I had contact with her and saw her at all.
What made you call the police before Christmas?
It was a couple weeks, you know, I had called right after he stopped talking to me, but I was talking to my therapist and I was telling her, like, listen, this is affecting my mental health. I can't sleep, I'm super depressed, like, you know, my son's well taken care of, but me personally, I was really sad, you know, like something right here all the time, just telling me, like, you got to get her, you know. And I said to my therapist, I said, no one's hearing me. I've made reports. I've talked to desk people at DCF office because I didn't have a certain extension because Demetrius wasn't on the case anymore, which was the person that was supposed to remove her that didn't. He knew Adam personally. He was Adam's DYS counselor. So he was a conflict of interest from the beginning. So the 3 times they were supposed to remove her, they didn't because he knew him personally. And then I got word when Mauricio had reached out to me and said, you know, I was told you had made past reports, and then they started asking me questions about Harmony, and I said I still haven't seen or heard from her, nothing, and didn't hear anything. The guy I have all the text messages from the guy basically doing nothing. So I reached out to the mayor, and I said, listen, if you guys don't help me find my daughter, because DCYF and DCF and Mass dropped the ball on this one, let her slip through the cracks. I said, I'm going straight to the media. I don't care. It was like hours later, I got a phone call from the police in Manchester. And I had already called the Manchester police. They told me I couldn't file a missing persons report because he had physical custody of her. So they said, like, they told me go to court and file a petition to get custody. So I go there, and they tell me if it's a DCYF open case, then I can't go there and go to court. So they were running, like, sent me around for busy work, you know what I mean, while they were trying to figure out how to cover their butt. And it was just, when they knew I couldn't do anything at the courthouse, but they still sent me over there, you know what I mean? And then, you know, the cops called me and they're like, we're completely involved now. DCYF told me this is really suspicious, blah, blah, blah. And then it came on the news.
Have you ever seen Adam be violent?
Yeah, when I was in a relationship with him, he used to choke me. I was pregnant with her, he'd choke me. Like all kinds of stuff. If you did more than him, he'd choke you. If you were texting and he didn't want you to, or somebody he didn't like, he would do whatever to you, scream at you, get in your face, whatever. He uses his intimidation to and manipulation to get what he wants. Always has.
Have you ever seen him be violent towards Harmony?
Towards her, not me seeing this, but we had a play therapist that she had while he was getting visits when I had custody of her. And even my play therapist had made a report, before he got custody, mind you. I still had custody of her at this point. The play therapist made a report of abuse saying there was definite abuse going on in the house during visits. And when she told me that, I completely never let him have visits with her again, you know, because Nan was supervising them. And there was like once or twice where she had doc's appointments and stuff, so she wasn't there the whole time. And he's short-tempered, you know, so he, you know, as soon as he gets the second or loses his temper, he's gonna hit her, you know. And my daughter is she's just like me, you know. She talks a lot and she's excited and she's smart, you know. She kind of even thinks she might even know a little bit more than you know, even though she doesn't. But that's just her, and she's just beautiful like that. But I just don't ever see someone getting so angry to where they bash her around the house, as he said. You know, I just don't understand. If that was the case and that's what you planned on doing with her, why go for custody? Spite me. To spite me. That's all it was. It was never for love for Harmony.
Did he ever speak negatively of Harmony?
Yeah, oh yeah. He'd say, when I talked to him, you know, I'm like, so what was going on at the visits? You know, like, I questioned him about what the therapist had said. Hence, telling him no more visits. Because he was blowing on my phone, he was supposed to pick her up, and I didn't answer. Then he showed up to the sober house in Roxbury making a scene, and the director was like, we'll call the cops on you. You know? And I told him, this is why. You're doing extreme punishments to her. She all kinds of stuff like that the therapist had gotten out of her just by playing dolls in a dollhouse. Imagine? I was horrified. I was like, no. I told DCF, and that was that. Like months later, they hand over custody.
How is it possible she got to stay with him after all of that?
I don't understand. I still don't understand to this day. I had a court date on the same day of that hearing for Jameson's adoption. So I sent over to get a continuance from the courthouse saying, hey, we need a different court date. I can't cut myself in half. They denied my continuance and just handed him over custody because they wanted to wash their hands of the case. You know, they were done with it. It was the lady said it was open 4 years too long.
So, I know, oh, sorry, come back a little bit this way.
Oh, sorry.
Stay in one spot. Yeah, okay.
I was trying to get out the wind.
No,
it was like, whew.
Only a few more questions and we'll be done. I know it's cold.
I don't know where he is. He needs to just come give me my coat.
I know, I mean, these are tough questions to ask a mom, but I mean, do you think Harmony's alive?
I still believe she's here. I think he has her with either like his mother that no one knows really anything about because she never raised him, you know, but I think he would call his mom or hit her up on Facebook and say, I'm in real bad trouble. I need you to take her. You're the only one that no one knows. You know what I mean? I feel like she's still here. I would know, man. Like I said before, a mother knows. You know when your baby's not here anymore. You know, you feel it the day it happens, you know, and yeah, I've woken up with panic attacks and woke up calling family members freaking out because, like, I just have a terrible feeling all the time. But it's not a feeling of that she's not here anymore, you know?
With his violent past and addiction, I mean, do you think he could have...
I feel like he sold her. I think he sold her because the same week that they're saying this happened, the day after Thanksgiving to December 6th, was the week after my son legally got adopted on the news. You know what I mean? And he knew what my son looked like. He, you know, that's my daughter's brother, you know? So he saw that, and I really think it's connected. I think, like, he got that idea from seeing that and was like, oh, I can do it illegally, you know? Because not for nothing, right around the same time, you know, human trafficking was at an all-time high. So was Oregon harvesting, which I don't even want to go there, you know, but at least if you sold it to a family that legally couldn't adopt or something, you know, there's still hope that she's at least safe somewhere, you know.
Do you feel any guilt?
Oh yeah, every day. Every day. I played a part in this. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm innocent. Like, I'm a recovering addict. Like, when I gave birth to her, I didn't know nothing about being a parent. I didn't know nothing about getting in recovery, but I never stopped trying. I always went into program after program after program, trying to, you know, prove to her and my family that I wasn't going to stop until I got better, you know. And I just, you know, especially when I kept reaching out to Adam, kept reaching out, like, I even was like, I even wanted to show him, like, look how far I've come, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of shame and guilt, you know, that come with this. But it's not gonna set me back. It's gonna motivate me to keep fighting for her and keep looking for her, because if I can't speak for her, who else is going to, you know? Look what happened for 2 years because I wasn't her voice, or I couldn't be, or nobody could hear me, you know? I just want people to hear me and come forward and tell us something, because somebody knows something. It's a fact. Like, someone knows something, and either they're too afraid to get in trouble or whatever, but someone knows something.
And just my last question, the search happening at the house now.
They're just scouring for any type of anything, really.
Do you think there's something at that house?
No. I don't have a feeling like there's... I get these crazy intuitions, I always have, and I don't have any type of intuition about that house. I feel like they're wasting time, to be honest. But that's just my opinion. I'm also hoping as well, you know, that there's nothing. So...
On January 11, 2022, court documents show prosecutors plan to drop a welfare fraud charge against Harmony's stepmother, Kayla Montgomery. In March that same year, Adam's new girlfriend, Kelsey Small, was found dead. Police do not consider it suspicious, with it being reported as a suspected drug overdose. March 2022, Adam Montgomery is indicted on a charge of second-degree assault for allegedly knowingly causing bodily injury to Harmony by striking her in the face. While Kayla Montgomery is indicted on one charge of theft by deception, alleging that she lied last year that Harmony was in her household to claim food stamp benefits exceeding $1,500. In the month of April, Adam Montgomery is hit with further charges of stealing a rifle and a shotgun in the months before Harmony's disappearance. We learn in April of 2022 that Kayla Montgomery was offered a plea deal, and it becomes clear that fresh information moving the case forward has likely been coming from her. June 2022, FBI officers search the Montgomery family's former home for a second time and are seen removing a refrigerator and other pieces of furniture. In August of 2022, there is finally a break in the case. A press conference is held to update the public.
Good afternoon. I'm Attorney General John Formella, and I'm joined today by Manchester Police Chief Alan Aldenberg. We're here today to provide an update regarding the ongoing investigation into the 2019 disappearance of Harmony Montgomery. Back in January, we announced that then 5-year-old Harmony likely disappeared sometime between November 28th and December 10th of 2019. Since that announcement, members of my office, members of the Manchester Police Department, the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI, and other law enforcement partners have been diligently continuing to work this case. In total, these agencies working together have devoted thousands of hours gathering evidence and pursuing numerous leads. All of these efforts have led us to conclude that Harmony Montgomery was murdered in Manchester in early December of 2019. At this point, while Harmony's remains have not yet been located, we do have multiple sources of investigative information, including just recently confirmed biological evidence that have led us to this difficult and tragic conclusion. As a result, today I am announcing that this is now officially a homicide investigation, and that our investigators will continue to seek justice and look into the circumstances of Harmony's murder and search for her remains. We understand that this is truly devastating news for Harmony's family, friends, and loved ones, and our hearts go out to them. This is also devastating news for the city of Manchester, for our state, and all who have followed this story. Our work now turns to getting justice for Harmony and all those who loved her. In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Manchester Police Chief Alan Aldenberg, but before I do, I just want to acknowledge the tireless work that the Manchester Police Department has put into this difficult and truly heartbreaking case. We have much work left to do, but I think everyone would join me in thanking the Chief and his team for their efforts thus far. I also want to acknowledge the work of Senior Assistant Attorney General Jesse O'Neill from my office, who is here today. He's worked closely with Chief Aldenberg, the Manchester Police Department, and all of our law enforcement partners in this investigation. And there is much work left to come. Chief.
Thank you, General. Good afternoon. As the Chief of Police for the City of Manchester, I'm beyond saddened that we stand here today to announce that the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery is now officially a homicide investigation. As I stated from the beginning of this investigation and throughout, every effort has been made to bring Harmony home to her family. Our commitment to bringing Harmony home has not wavered, nor will it. Bringing Harmony home will continue to be the #1 priority of the Manchester Police Department. I want to take a moment to publicly thank the Manchester Police Department detectives and the New Hampshire Attorney General's Office for their steadfast commitment and dedication to this investigation. There have been many detectives assigned to this investigation, and I'm grateful to all of them. But I want to specifically recognize Captain Sean Layton, Captain Matt LaRochelle, Sergeant Jamie Cavari, who could not be here today, Detective Jack Dunleavy, Detective Scott Riley, and Detective Max Rahill, as well as Deputy U.S. Marshal Billy Tufts, who's here as well. I thank all of them for their tireless work thus far in this investigation. I am grateful for the compassion and dedication that they've given to this investigation over the past 8 months. They've experienced many ups and downs, many moments of frustration and sadness along the way, but they have remained focused and remained undeterred as they enter the next phase of this investigation. I feel it's important to recognize these true professionals, as their job is an extremely difficult one. It is even more difficult when investigating the homicide of a sweet and innocent 8-year-old girl. It is equally important for me to recognize the professionalism and commitment of Senior Assistant Attorney General Jesse O'Neill. Attorney O'Neill has been part of this investigation from day one, and he has not wavered one bit. I am personally grateful to Attorney O'Neill for the guidance and counsel he has provided me along the way. He is a consummate professional, and the state of New Hampshire should be thankful for having such an individual seeking justice for Harmony. So thank you, Jesse. It is not often that a public official takes a moment to thank the media, but I feel it's important to do so. I specifically want to extend my gratitude to WMUR and Fox Boston for continuously keeping Harmony's story at the forefront. Both outlets and many others did so with compassion and professionalism, and for that I say thank you. I know that over the past 8 months that there have been many discussions, speculation, and questions relative to where the system failed Harmony. And I myself continue to share the same concerns and still have many remaining questions. However, the homicide of this little girl rests with the person or persons who committed this horrific act. The Manchester Police Department will do everything within the limits of the law to ensure that the responsible person or persons for the murder of Harmony are brought to justice. As always, I encourage members of the public to continue to use the dedicated tip line should they have any information at all that would assist us in locating Harmony or any information that they feel is relevant to this investigation. The dedicated tip line has, the dedicated tip line number is 603-203-6060. Again, that number is 603-203-6060. As I said from the beginning, I maintain the stance that there are people out there in the community that have information about this investigation who have yet to come forward. If you are that person, pay attention to me carefully. If you are that person, I implore you to do so now and come forward. I'm not asking you to do it for me, for the people in this room, the people that have been working this investigation. Do it for this little girl who's on this screen. The time is now. Time to step up and do the right thing. Make the call to that tip line or contact the Manchester Police Department any way you see fit. Harmony is a sweet and innocent child who deserves to be brought home to her family and friends. Thank you. General?
Months later in January 2023, Adam Montgomery is indicted on further charges of second-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, falsifying evidence, and witness tampering. Later that year, Adam is sentenced for multiple offenses of armed career criminal, theft by unauthorized taking, and receiving stolen property in Manchester, New Hampshire. It is during this trial that took place in June 2023 that we first see Kayla testifying against Adam.
So, Kayla, with respect to the sentence on those 2 felonies that you mentioned, what sentence did you receive?
I received the 2 counts of perjury.
And what was the sentence that was imposed?
I got 3.5 to 7 suspended, and a 3.5 to 7 with 1.5 suspended off my minimum.
And the 3.5 to 7 that you mentioned, is that the maximum prison sentence for each charge?
Yes.
And what portion of that prison sentence are you currently fulfilling right now?
So 3.5 to 7 with the 1.5 off my minimum.
And you mentioned a suspended portion of the sentence.
Yes.
What what if anything do you have to abide by for that to remain suspended?
I have to state as what the memorandum agreement is between myself and the state.
So is it suspended upon the conditions and continued parole?
Yes. But it's also suspended for, I have 10 years over my head.
And what is your obligation with respect to that agreement? What do you have to do?
I have to abide by the state.
And with respect to this trial, what is your obligation under that agreement?
To tell the truth.
This plea deal that Kayla agreed to led to a crushing confession that led detectives on a path that provided them with the evidence they required to arrest and charge Adam with abusing and taking Harmony's life. From February 6th, the trial that will seek justice for Harmony will begin. We are expecting to see the likes of Kayla Montgomery, Kayla's mother, Kevin Montgomery, and Harmony's mother, Crystal Sorey. We hope this pre-trial catch-up has helped you to catch up if you were new to this case. This is only a small tip of what journey this family has been on and how awful poor Harmony was treated. Thank you for spending time with us today. If you have an interest in similar cases, please consider liking and subscribing for more updates and fresh cases.